much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, fellow officers. Thank you very much, friends, relatives, and distinguished guests. I'm a man of few words, but I must say this. My government will not tolerate interference from politicians. If you try, you will be defeated, for I am the world's strongest general. Ask my soldiers, ask those who have had the honor of boxing me, ask my wife, why even ask my girlfriend?
Welcome to the Controversy Podcast, the podcast that dares to say out loud what most people only think in private. So let's dive right in and discuss. Do you like Donald Trump?
Like is a strong word. He entertains me.
He entertains you. What form of entertainment? Yeah.
He does some pretty dumb things, and then he turns around and do some smart things. So it's kind of like interesting to watch, like those transitions.
That sounds
The crypto guys will understand.
Okay, I do understand. But that sounds like Homelander kind of stuff, because I'm not saying he does. I didn't say that, but
They are both
does. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Controversy Podcast. And today we'll be discussing something that's very, very controversial. I wanted to do like the Trump kind of way of saying China, controversial. We'll be discussing something very controversial. Trevor Noah did a particular joke on Donald Trump, and he was talking about his dance. You know that?
Yeah.
And they called it something which is very controversial. So today we'll be discussing about dictatorships being better than democracy. And before we run into the conversation, let me be quick to say that dictatorships in this conversation simply are, dictatorship can also exist in a democracy. A dictator can be in a democracy, right? But we are excluding democracy from the conversation and going dictatorships as in monarchical structures, authoritarian systems in which, like Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Vladimir Putin of Russia, systems like that, right? We're not talking about Trump in the democratic system or has him the Nigerian system. So, what do you think about dictatorships being better than democracy?
Well, first of all, I feel you'll be disingenuous to say most of the countries in the world right now are actually operating a democracy.
Absolutely.
So that said, I feel dictatorships, like as you've mentioned, the form of dictatorships we have at least are more upfront about their logic, about how they go about this. So it's kind of this situation whereby you tell me these are the ground rules. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. So I know that okay, here are the things I can do and the things I can't do. Well, it's a different story where you tell me I'm free to do whatever I want. And then I say something bad about you online, and then the police is knocking on my door. So I feel in that aspect, I will argue that dictatorship is actually better. Look at the North Koreans now. They know I can't obviously go and say anything bad about my leader.
Exactly.
I can't slander him. I can't insult him. I can't I can't do this. I can't do that. They know that. So it's like a rule for them. But it's not a different case where you see there's freedom of speech. And then we have like a case here in Nigeria a few years back where someone made a comment about the president's wife.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, we are seeing reports that she got the person arrested and beaten without even taking him to court, or let's say even suing him for slander or anything.
I'm trying to remember this man. He hosted, I don't know if it's the Grammys or I think Rick Gervais or something like that. I'm trying to remember his name. And he makes a lot of like jokes on this kind of issues. There was something he said about freedom of speech. And he said, everybody loves freedom of speech until when someone says something that offends you and then you want to punch them in the face. And I think that's the way democracy kind of works nowadays. We are promised freedom of speech, but there's a cap to what the freedom is. Whereby dictators say, this is what you can say and this is what you can't say. This is what you can do exactly. And you mentioned Kim Jong-un, and I just have to crack this joke. You've got the haircut of Kim Jong-un.
No.
Is that why you made the example?
Don't start.
No, guys, like look at it. Actually, it got there are similarities over here. Except from the beard.
Get you arrested.
This is what we are saying. Like this is what we are saying. I was at a debate. I think 2 Fridays ago, and the topic of discussion was prostitution should be legalized. I just want to draw it to what you just did right now. So during the debate, one of the debaters said that if you are here standing to support prostitution in the Nigerian system, do you know you're committing a crime of it starts from T. Against the government. There's this thing whereby you commit a crime against the government. Treason, exactly. You're committing treason against the government. Right. And I was like, that doesn't actually make sense in the debate because it betrays the logic. I didn't choose to be here.
We're debating for a reason.
We're debating for a reason. Yeah, it's not supposed to, like, I get your logic, but your logic already, like, beats the fact that there's freedom of speech to debate something like this. So I shouldn't actually be committing a crime. So when you say you're going to get me arrested, we're standing in front of, we're sitting in front of a camera to discuss about dictatorship being better than democracy. And then you're already threatening me with arrest. What's the difference between these guys and the people we want to talk about, by the way?
Well, give me power, they will find out. I guess.
I made a post on Twitter one time about democracy, and I made a lot of posts about on Twitter about democracy, now X. And one of the posts was on the fact that if you study the human chain of leadership, especially when it comes to governance, you will notice there was a time whereby it was like the family unit, where the father was like the president. Then they moved into a royalty, community rather, sorry. And then from community, he moved to royalty. From royalty, he moved to, I think, the church. That's where you had like theocracy functioning. And there was a certain part of the world whereby theocracy was very, very rampant. And then it moved to democracy today. No, it moved to dictatorships, actually. And then from dictatorships to democracy that we are today. Because, dictatorships were actually the fertile soil for democracy. Because it was due to the excesses of a lot of the dictatorships that they decided to bring up democracy.
Power.
So the question I have now is democracy the final stop? Because it seems like, is it the final stop for governance when it comes to leadership?
I don't believe so. And here's my reason. You can't have law and order and have everybody running around doing whatever they want at the same time. It's just not possible. If the human race has taught us everything, is that there is always going to be that one person.
That one person, the exception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can't have everyone running around doing whatever they like. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, as we call it. There has to be limits. There has to be a place where you draw the line.
Yes.
So, and democracy is just not doing enough for me in that aspect. Like, with dictatorships now, if they tell you something like, I'm trying to find the logical
example. Okay, for example, let's say curfew.
Okay, yeah, let's say a curfew.
Yeah.
You said don't go out by 7 p.m. every day for 1 week. Yeah. You have no choice, you have to comply.
Exactly.
Democracy, you still see that one idiot that will be like, I can do whatever I want. Freedom
exactly.
They will cite one.
Yeah, they go to the constitution immediately.
Find one part in the constitution that supports them going against that particular law or order. So you can't have law and order with, like, you can't have a full
you can't
have a fully functional society
system, exactly.
A fully functional society operating with democracy, and then you expect to have complete law and
order.
just simply does not work.
The question that-
Taking Nigeria as a case study,
Yeah.
if you compare us while we're under the military,
Yes.
I'm not claiming to be,
Claiming-
I'm not
yeah,
claiming
yeah.
I know everything about it,
Yes.
but from what I've read and what I've heard so far, the country seems to have been in a better, far better state than we are now.
Okay. I think to some extent, I didn't live in those periods,
Yeah.
but I think to some extent, based on the stories we've heard, it seems to be true that the dictatorship system seemed to have worked better, specifically for the Nigerian people. Because look, Nigerians, give it Nigerian man a freedom, and you're going to see every excuse possible to be human. Like, give Nigerian man a freedom, specifically when it comes to oppression. It's human normally to want to probably oppress a person, right? Another human. But you see, for the Nigerian person, maybe because of the way we've evolved and specifically the adaptation mentality that we have, oppressing, the one you are more better than in the society seems to be like the better. And I think democracy seems to hate that. I don't know why, but I think democracy seems to hate that. And I was about to even ask the question on, comparison of the military to the Nigerian democratic structure, and you actually nailed it already. And then the next question that I have is about, this is actually very tough for me to ask, right? In terms of one person, one vote. In the sense that, they have different kind of forms of government. I can't remember now, but I think it's epistocracy, whereby, not everybody has equal vote. So you need to prove that you understand the political structure of the country well enough for you to have like a vote that scores higher than another person. So let's say I prove to have political knowledge better than you. When I vote, it's 5 points. Yours is like maybe 3 points. And the reason I pose this as a question is because if you study, I'm going to use Nigeria because we're in the Nigerian context. Of recent, you saw people whom they shared panties for, and they printed the picture of the president, the incumbent president, on those panties.
Very annoying video.
Exactly. So you're seeing situations whereby it's rice. It's
corruption, lack of good roads, give them rice.
Rice.
Lack
Exactly.
of bridges, give them rice.
It's like you give rice and then the problem
Problem goes
away.
away.
Exactly. And I'm like, it's not meant to be like that. And we're seeing consistently, even I saw a video today and I was pained because I was thinking about it in multiple forms. The man was a cripple. He drives this I see it a lot with the Hausa and Fulanis, where they drive this stuff. So he's a cripple. And he had just received a package with maybe president face printed on it or whatsoever, but it was a democratic related package. And he was talking about how President Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has to win the election. Right. And it caught me between the question of, is this man doing this because there's no one to care for him in terms of maybe a system that works to care for him? Or is he doing this because he does not realize that if the president then enters, I'm not saying this is what is going to happen, but if the president then enters, it doesn't mean that his life is necessarily changed. So for someone like that, it's hard for them to make an accurate political decision, specifically when propagandas are tailor-fitted to make them vote for a certain person. So do you think the one person, one vote?
Looking at the immediate
Exactly,
comfort rather than long term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instant gratification.
So I agree with your logic, but then the one issue I'm thinking about is who decides the marriage system.
That was the issue I was also thinking about.
So if you say let's assume that the three arms of governments in Nigeria are independent of each other, which we know they are not, sadly.
Exactly.
So let's assume they are independent of each other. You can't tell me the governments in power would not do their best to try to influence that merit system to favor them, their own party or their own agenda.
Exactly. Especially when corruption is being
exactly. So it creates a new system of corruption whereby they are no more looking to rig votes. They are looking to rig the merit system to favor their party or their agenda or whatever they want.
What you said now, I've heard it before, but in a different form. I think Joseph Stalin of Russia. He said, and I quote, "It is not the person who votes that counts. It is who counts the votes." So it's not about you going to vote that counts. It's about actually who's counting the votes. Because at that time, I don't think there was an automated system, by the way. Exactly.
Yeah.
So they count by hand. So it's not about you. I think that was one of the reasons why he stood against the democratic system. Because, like, if we're going to be counting this thing by hands, how am I sure you guys are not going to rig it against me? And I think it was the same thing with what's his name? Gaddafi of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi of blessed memory of Libya. So here's my next question, right? This one is a personal question. And I think even the audience should give answers in relation to this. Are you ready to risk some of your rights in order for the country to develop, specifically our country? Going back to the military rule, for example.
That's a tough one. Like, is there any, like, some of my rights, or is there any particular
let me give you an example, right? It doesn't stop at only this, but let's say for this one now, the fact that we can sit down in front of a camera and do this, we can't do it in North Korea, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you ready to give up something like that to further hate democracy, to further hate a dictatorship, turn the country around for economic development?
The country will be better off.
Yeah.
Okay. This way. Should I call it self-sacrifice or selflessness comes in?
Okay.
Because obviously we've been brought up in a system that allows us to do this.
Yeah.
So letting that go is going to be tough. But then let's not forget that there are also people that grew up in far worse conditions. And they are alive.
Yeah.
They are doing well.
Yes.
North Korea has millionaires. Probably millionaires. We can't know for sure.
We don't have
they
the
have
records.
people thriving. Yeah. They have people that are thriving
in
the same country
yeah.
that people know.
Let's take countries that we have access to in terms of like Russia.
Yeah. Russia has been the former owner of Chelsea is Russian.
Man,
so
I don't remember his name now.
I think it's in the long run it might be tough to begin with, but in the long run I don't think it will be as bad as it seems. I was watching a video whereby is it Singapore that they want to introduce caning to their schools to combat bullies.
Yeah, bullies.
And people are outraged. Meanwhile, the host of that particular show was saying he went to school in South Africa. They were beaten by their teachers whenever they misbehaved.
Yes.
So it's not an experience that leaves scars on you the way many people like to pretend it is.
Funny
in fact, it becomes fun whenever you see your friend.
No, exactly. Funny enough, in that conversation, it's about being beaten for wrongdoing, not even being beaten for being a bully.
Exactly. You are being beaten for doing something like
something
bad.
wrong.
Yeah. So I think it's the same, something similar to this, because to those students that have never been whipped before, their first time is going to look bad. Or as time goes on, they are going to adapt. So I think it's going to be the same with a situation like this. As time goes on, it will become more of a normal thing. Yeah.
Yes. So I'd like to wrap up with this question.
And sorry, if history has taught us anything, is that Nigerians know how to adapt.
Yeah.
Fuel price goes up.
They adapt.
Start paying how many percent tax? They adapt.
Yeah. So it's so. I think that's one of the things that give us strength. Actually, when you look at it, the Nigerians' ability to adapt, even in the face of circumstances whereby you should not try. I think it's one of the. Let's talk about this a bit in terms of what the CEO of Moneypoint came out to say, Tosin Eniolorunda, right? Where he talked about the fact that there are over 500 job offers on their platform, and they can't find skilled Nigerians that can take the job. And he was saying that he used to think Nigerians are very brilliant, and my view on that is, it's not that Nigerians are very brilliant, or they're very skilled, or they're better than every other person in the world. I don't think that's it. I think what Nigerians have is just the tenacity to pull through. So, for example, if you employ a Nigerian for one of those jobs, right? It's a global market, like you're competing globally, and you pressure that Nigerian to say, look, this is a global market. We've got to put you. Most of them in a fully functional system whereby they realize that I could get sacked. And Nigerians are people who literally go, if I'm getting paid $2,000 a year, if I quit this job, I don't think I'm going to see $2,000 anywhere anymore, right? So they're going to like lock in, put in. So I don't think it's about them being less skilled. I'm not saying that Nigerians are not skilled persons or we don't have skilled people. That's not the conversation I'm having. I'm just saying that the conversation of Nigerians are very brilliant, I don't see us as the most brilliant in the world. If we're the most brilliant in the world, we have a fully functional democratic system, we have a fully functional educational system, we have a fully functional healthcare system, if we were the most brilliant in the world. But what we have seen is that most times when our talents get exported from here, these guys actually have the tenacity to pull through over there. So it's not about a skill problem. It's more of that, like, we have the, the ability to pull through.
What they call it? I'm forgetting the word.
The word, yeah.
But we have this ability to like adapt to whatever situation we
Yeah.
find ourselves in, and then like in a situation like this job offer you're talking about, to come up with solutions or skills that are needed to get the job done when needed.
Exactly.
So Nigerians are hustlers by nature. In fact, when I watched that video, it's got me angry for a number of reasons. And then I just went straight to the comments. I was seeing multiple people complaining about that same guy, saying that they tried to apply for a job for his company. Like, they had all the skills they needed, but it was the pay. Like,
that was the problem.
The pay that was the problem. So it's not as if they couldn't find Nigerians. Nigerians are available, but Nigerians,
the compensation for their skill.
The people with the skills are not ready to settle for the little amount they are offering. So
especially when they see that there are colleagues of theirs who actually receive better pay,
way more than
that.
So it's more like you trying to you getting angry that people do not allow you to exploit them. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Wow. Okay. There's that view. There's actually that view. Yeah. So we'll wrap up with this question, and that question is: do you think that democracy is overrated?
I think democracy, by its actual definition, if we operate it by its actual definition, it's not overrated. But the way it is
by
now,
actualization,
democracy as we know it now, is purely overrated. I don't even believe we have a single democracy
in the world. I hold that belief too.
I
don't think,
you are supposed to represent your people.
Your people, yeah.
Meanwhile, your people are protesting. Yeah, you said you want to do something. The people you are representing are protesting that don't do this, and then still you go ahead and
you do it. Yeah.
Is that really a democracy?
The training session I was having with the guys for the debates, and I was telling them something at training session about this democracy. Well, you see, democracy is for the people, of the people, and by the people, right? That's the central idea. But I said there was this situation that happened whereby the government said they were going to take away the police officers from the I think members of the Senate, government officials, right? And you have to privatize security now in terms of affording your security, something like that. I don't remember the full story. And then there was this senator in the house that was going, don't take away our security, because if you take away our security, the bandits are going to come and kill us. So the question that was on my mind then is, so the bandits should kill the citizens.
You kill the citizens.
But you're representing the citizens. The police should not be guiding you. The police should be guiding all of us.
Yeah.
You understand? Because the citizens include you. So they'll be guiding all of us. You shouldn't have to take a large chunk of the police for yourselves and then let the bandits attack us. And it's quite funny because that's what democracy has become now. Democracy, when they say of the people, by the people, and for the people, what it means is, is for the people who are in power, by the people who are in power, and of the people who are in power. So if you're not in power, you don't get to benefit from the democracy.
When they were putting people in that definition, we failed to ask them what people
exactly. That's my point. So we were quick to say, it's for us. It's for us. Are we really sure it's for us?
I think this thing is just a big club of the A-likes, and we are unfortunately not in that club.
It breaks my heart to say this. It's a conjecture. It's not necessarily a truth, but it's conjecture. in the sense that I think human lives is just a repetition of different systems in different hands. Because if we say that democracy is a big club for the easy club for the big people, and whereby we are just like serving these big people,
Spectators,
it's like monarchy.
basically.
It's like a dictatorship self. It's like you have the masses and you have the elites, and regardless of whatever structure that you bring in place, it just so much occurs that the same functionality is what we arrive at, the same results is what we arrive at. And it breaks my heart to see that. Although they have been, here's the thing, because I know somebody's going to watch this, and people often do that, and I kind of try to understand why they arrive at such conclusions, where they go, but there was this poor person who became great. There will always be exceptions.
There will always be exceptions.
That's normal.
Yeah.
If there's no exception in the system, then the system has failed itself. It's a self-surviving system should be able to create exceptions. It's just like if you go to Harvard, there will be a failure in Harvard. You understand? Harvard is a school for success, but there will be a failure in Harvard. That's the way the system works, right? A self-surviving system should be able to create an exception. So with this, funny enough, we didn't even introduce ourselves. I think we're so much thinking about the topic.
I think by this point, you already need introduction.
Okay. You probably should know us, the guy who asks you, have you given your life to Christ? Because you haven't. I'm not going to pour out into dimensions here, by the way, but I believe you already know my name by me saying all those things. And we've come to the end of the show. We wish you good luck.
If you don't mind, I'm going to go bomb IRI.
I hope some platforms actually do not, unalive our content. For the way we are imitating, See you next time.
It's kind of a running joke.
It's a running joke.
It's a meme.
It can be a bombing joke.
Well.
See you next time. Same YouTube channel and every other social media platform whereby you engage our content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also go on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter to stay engaged with our content.